Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Charles. Today is the 13th of June 2018. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday afternoon session. So we're going to have a look at the markets, what's happening with them right now, what levels to watch out for later on. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, a very quick reminder of our JFD Brokers research page here, which you can come in and check out. And we do for our different trading shoutouts, different technical analysis, our daily morning analysis every day. So yeah, I mean, feel free to check us out. I think you can find something useful for yourself, guys. But for now, probably let's quickly have a look at the markets. Now, the first one I want to touch on is the FTSE 100. To be honest, just this is going to be a very quick review because there's not much interesting things things happening here because it continues to move sideways. We are waiting for a nice break here, either through the upper side here through the 77.55 mark or through the lower side here, the 76.10. Certainly this is probably a range trader's paradise right now, so it just continues to move sideways. But eventually, I mean, we should get like a pop here through the upper side here, or even maybe a break through the lower side. So, but for now, like I said, we're kind of more neutral on this one. Certainly, this is closer to the upper side here. It continues to trade around its 21 EMA, shown here as the yellow line. So, if we do get a nice break above the 77.55 mark, now, keep a close eye on the 77.95. Now, 77.95 proved to be a nice, good area, strong area of resistance here in January. So, we can see that it was the high here that we had in January. So, if we also break that level, then could open the path towards this higher level here. This higher level, this all-time high that we had here in May. So around the 79.03 mark. So of course, for all this to happen, we need to see first a nice move above the 77.55. But for now, we can see that the price continues to, well, the rate continues to trade just slightly below it. So for now, keep a close eye on this one. Looking at the DAX, and the DAX is also trading sideways right now. So initially, we saw this morning a nice move below this key area that I've got highlighted here, the 12,830. We moved lower. We were shy of a few kind of points away from this 200 EMA shown here as the black line, and we then reversed and moved higher again, and now we're stuck at this 21 EMA shown here as the yellow line, stuck around that area. And of course, now it's thinking the bulls and the bears continue to fight, and still no one can really determine on the further direction. For us to become more bullish on this one, well, it's probably going to be not enough to see a break here above the 12,920. We need to see probably a good move above the 13,000, the psychological 13,000, in order to kind of consider this index moving higher again. But on the downside, of course, if we get a move below this 12,830 and also below this 200 EMA, then yep, I mean, we could see maybe a bit of selling coming in again, and we could maybe end up testing this 12,600. So for now, keep a close eye on this one, guys. I mean, once it breaks out of this little range here between these two key levels, then, well, like I said, we could see something interesting developing here. But for now, it's just moving sideways, and it's gonna be like difficult to trade if you're not a range trader. So looking at probably one of the more interesting European indices for today, that's the FTSE MIB, the Italian FTSE MIB, and we can see that now we are trading closely to this 21 EMA. Certainly we're close to this key area of resistance at around 22,425. Certainly continue keeping an eye on it. If we can get a break, if we can get a nice break and especially a close above this level, well, we could probably start aiming for this 200 EMA, or even actually maybe if the buying is going to be that strong, we could end up moving towards this downwards moving trend line here, and we could end up testing it from underneath. So but for now, of course, stay careful, because as you can probably see, we're also building here forming a range here between the 22,425 and this level right here, the 21,290 approximately there. So this quite wide range, I would say. Certainly if we get a rejection here at this 22,425 and excuse me, and we start moving lower again, and then we eventually break this 21,930, then yep, we could probably confirm this wide range for the time being, and we could continue trading here for the time being. So for now, just stay sharp. I mean, this move higher here doesn't really mean that we are going to continue now pushing higher. We need to see a nice break here above the 22,425, and especially a close above that level in order to consider further upside moves. Let's quickly touch on a few commodities, and the first one I want to look at is the precious metal, silver, and of course we're not far from this, the nice beautiful number of 17. So of course keep a close eye on this one. If we get a nice break above this 17 level, well, we could end up moving towards this level right here where the arrow is pointing. And if you look at the bigger picture, we are forming a nice symmetrical triangle here in this precious metal. So if we get a nice move above the 17 mark, then well, start aiming for this upper side of the triangle formation. If the 17 level is going to hold, we might retrace back down a little bit, but to be honest, it would be interesting to see this this white metal going up all the way up to this upper side of the triangle, and maybe getting rejected there and then reversing back down. Now this is probably an ideal scenario. Well, let's see if it works out or not, but for now, probably yep, keep a close eye on this 17 level. Let's see if it actually acts as a good level of resistance, or will it be a nice area of support later on. So keep a close eye on this one, guys. Looking at the US oil, so WTI, and of course it's difficult to predict what he wants to do here. Continues to trade slightly below this upwards moving trend line. This upwards moving trend line has been running since the end of August last year. So for now, of course, we can see that it's getting rejected around this area here, around this 66.70 mark. Certainly, if we get a nice pop here to the upside, well, the price could place itself back above this upwards moving trend line, and we would become more bullish than bearish on this one. So but for now, until it does that, certainly we remain skeptical of further upside moves, and we are aiming here for the lower side if we get a break below this 65.55 mark. Now, a good level to watch, we're close to it. We can see that today we have tested already this level, so let's see if it moves below it. And not only if it will move below this 65.55 mark, it will also move below this 100 EMA, shown here as the green line. So could be a good bearish signal as well, and we could start aiming for this 64.10 mark, or even actually a little bit lower than that. But of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see what it wants to do with this area first. Let's quickly touch on a few pairs, and the euro dollar is pushing higher today nicely, pushing away from this 117.250 mark that I was talking about this morning. This also coincides with this 21 EMA shown here as the yellow line, so we're having a nice push to the upside now, and of course all eyes are on this 118.250. It acted as a good area of resistance in the past, so we can see that if we get closer to this and if we start testing this level, then well, aim for, we could eventually get a break here, and then we could start aiming higher. But for now, of course, stay sharp. Anything can happen here. If we suddenly get a reversal back down and we make a move below the 117,250, well, I mean, this could open the path towards these lower levels, the 116,500 initially, and then maybe lower towards this upwards moving trend line, which has been running for quite a while here since January 2017. So for now, observe these two levels, guys, and let's see what it wants to do with, if it wants to break to the upside or to the downside. One more euro pair that I wanted to quickly touch on is the euro GBP. Certainly seeing a nice pop here to the upside, breaking this key area of resistance at around 0.88100 mark. Certainly we tested the 200 EMA again. We have been doing this for the past like 2 days as well, and certainly we need to see a nice move above this 200 EMA, and especially a close above this 200 EMA in order to kind of consider further upside moves. Certainly, but for now, until we see that, we're very cautious with this one, because we can see this crazy price activity that we're in the past and here in this pair. So for now, certainly, of course, the momentum is more to the upside rather than to the downside. But nevertheless, if we get a strong reversal back down suddenly here, if we start breaking this upwards moving, well, tentative upwards moving trend line, we could end up moving lower here. But for now, of course, the downside is more slightly off the table, and we're aiming for this 200 EMA, and especially a nice close above this 200 EMA. Let's quickly touch on GBP USD. You probably understand what's happening with the GBP USD. It's moving lower, and we're still below this. We're still below this 21 EMA here, and of course we can see that I was talking about this level this morning, this 133.40 mark, and we've pierced through this, but actually the bulls managed to drive the pair back up here. So now we're testing this area, and let's see where it wants to close today. If it's going to close below this area, then, well, I mean, we could see some further declines later on. But for now, of course, if we close above this, we could see maybe another like retracement, well, reversal, let's say like that, a reversal back to the upside, and we could start aiming for this 134.70 mark. Now, a break of which could open the path towards higher levels. But for now, of course, stay sharp with this one, and keep a close eye on this 133.40 mark. Let's quickly touch on USD JPY, and USD JPY had a nice push here to the upside earlier on this morning, but we can see that the bears took control and moved lower. Certainly the bulls continue to fight back, and because the candle is still positive, the daily candle is still positive, but nevertheless we are above this 200 EMA and also this key level of resistance in the past, but now support, this 110.250. If we remain above this level, then we can still potentially see a continuation to the upside. We are within this this rising channel formation right now, so continue aiming for higher levels, guys. If we see a nice pop here higher again, and if we start aiming for if we start touching this 110.800, well, a break above that could open the path towards this high that we had here in May, this highest point, and that's around the 111.400. Now, a good level to watch, but only, of course, if we get a nice break here above the 110.800. On the downside, we need to see a strong move below this 110.250, and then eventually below this 200 EMA in order to kind of start considering lower levels. But before that happened, certainly this is looking more bullish than bearish. And one more last pair that I really wanted to touch on, guys, is the NZD USD, and certainly having a nice move here to the upside, nice pop here to the upside. We are close to this key level here, this 0.7550 mark, which almost coincides with this 38.2% retracement on the Fibonacci. But certainly if we get a nice break here to the upside, well, if we get a close above this level as well, then well, we could start aiming for this 50% retracement on the Fibonacci, and of course, which is also not far from this 200 EMA. So a very good target to watch, but only if we get a nice break here above this level. On the downside, we would need to see a move below the 0.70 mark, the psychological 0.70, in order to consider further declines. But for now, this is looking more bullish than bearish. But like I said, let's see what it wants to do with this key area of resistance at around 0.7550. Okay guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed this session and I hope you found it useful. As always, join me tomorrow and my Traders Espresso at 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock British Summer Time. But for now, have a good remaining day and keep an eye on the price action, guys. Thank you very much and bye-bye.